Naomi Osaka said her AO outfit would be extra and edgy, but ain't no way I was expecting this. Like, I knew this would be her fit, and I was like, okay, it is edgy and a bit different, but it seems pretty Naomi. But this, I'm still speechless. Definitely the most iconic.
The tennis world collectively held its breath as Naomi Osaka made her grand entrance at the Australian Open. And what an entrance it was! The former world #1 didn't just walk onto the court. She made a statement that reverberated through every corner of Rod Laver Arena and beyond. Draped in an iconic Japanese-inspired dress that perfectly blended tradition with contemporary fashion, Osaka reminded everyone why she's not just a tennis player, but a cultural icon. The moment she stepped into view, the entire stadium fell into a hushed awe, captivated by the sheer power and presence she exuded. This wasn't just about tennis anymore. This was about legacy, identity, and the art of making an unforgettable impression. The dress itself was a masterpiece that deserved its own standing ovation. Drawing inspiration from traditional Japanese aesthetics while incorporating modern design elements, Osaka's outfit was a visual representation of her journey, her heritage, and her determination to forge her own path in the sport. Every detail was meticulously thought out, from the fabric choice to the silhouette, creating a look that was simultaneously respectful of tradition and boldly innovative. The ensemble commanded attention without being ostentatious, a delicate balance that few can achieve. It was clear from the moment she appeared that this wasn't just another tennis outfit. This was a carefully crafted piece of wearable art designed to send a message to the world. What made this entrance even more powerful was Osaka's own explanation of her intentions. In her post-match interviews, she opened up about the thought process behind her striking appearance, revealing layers of meaning that made the moment even more profound. Naomi mentioned that she knew exactly what she was doing when she chose this look. She spoke about the people who came before her, the legends of the game who had their own iconic moments that lived on in tennis history long after their careers ended. These memories, these snapshots in time, had inspired her to make her own mark, to create something that people would remember and talk about for years to come. She wanted to leave a stamp on everyone who witnessed her entrance, to make sure that when people looked back at this Australian Open, they would remember Naomi Osaka and the statement she made.
Naomi told Vogue, "When I look back at the players who came before me, I think about how those moments, those looks, have become memories that live forever. So much of the time, other people get to write our stories for us. This felt like a moment where I could write a little bit of my own."
But perhaps the most powerful part of her message was when she declared her intention to write her own story this time. After taking time away from the sport for mental health reasons and to welcome motherhood into her life, Osaka was returning on her own terms. She was no longer interested in living up to anyone else's expectations or following a narrative that others had written for her. This was her comeback, her moment, and she was determined to define it herself. The dress, the entrance, the entire spectacle was a declaration of independence, a visual representation of a woman taking control of her own narrative and refusing to be boxed in by convention or expectation. Now, there's been some interesting discussion about the specific elements of her outfit, particularly regarding comparisons to other players. Some sources have mentioned Coco Gauff and a look inspired by butterflies and jellyfish, with references to a butterfly moment from 2021. While the details of Osaka's specific outfit elements have varied in different reports, what's clear is that modern tennis fashion has evolved into something far more meaningful than simple athletic wear. Whether we're talking about Osaka's Japanese-inspired dress or the symbolic elements incorporated by other players, there's a growing trend of athletes using their platform and their fashion choices to tell stories, honor their heritage, and make bold statements about who they are and what they represent. The wide white pants that Osaka wore, paired with her striking top, created a silhouette that was both elegant and powerful. The choice of white added an element of mystique to her appearance, a blank canvas that somehow managed to speak volumes. The flowing nature of the pants gave her movement a graceful quality, making her seem to glide across the court rather than simply walk. It was a look that balanced femininity with strength, tradition with modernity, and respect for the past with a bold vision for the future. And man, oh man, did she absolutely slay it. There's no other way to put it. Osaka didn't just wear an outfit, she embodied a moment. But here's where things got really interesting. After making such a spectacular entrance, the pressure was immediately on. You don't walk onto a Grand Slam court looking like that and then lose in the first round. The stakes had never been higher. Osaka's opponent, Antonia Ruzic, must have felt the weight of the moment as well. Walking onto the court to face someone who had just made such an iconic entrance, with the crowd buzzing and cameras flashing, could have been intimidating for anyone. But this is professional tennis, and Ruzic came to compete, not to be a spectator to someone else's fashion show. Osaka knew what was at risk. If she lost after that entrance, she would become the subject of ridicule and trolling from critics who were already waiting in the wings for any opportunity to pounce. The internet can be merciless, and a loss after such a bold statement would have given ammunition to everyone who doubted her return. But Naomi Osaka didn't get to where she is by backing down from pressure. Instead, she held her head high and let her tennis do the talking. The first set showcased the Osaka that fans had fallen in love with over the years. Her powerful ground strokes were on full display, her serve was clicking, and her movement around the court was sharp and purposeful. She took the first set convincingly, silencing any doubts about whether she could back up her entrance with actual performance. It was vintage Osaka, the kind of tennis that had won her 4 Grand Slam titles and established her as one of the most formidable players of her generation. But tennis is rarely straightforward, and Antonia Ruzic wasn't about to roll over without a fight. The Croatian player came out strong in the second set, raising her level and putting Osaka on the defensive. Ruzic began finding her rhythm, hitting winners, and making Osaka work for every point. The momentum shifted dramatically, and suddenly the match that seemed to be heading for a comfortable straight sets victory became a genuine contest. Ruzic took the second set, leveling the match and creating the kind of tension that makes tennis so compelling to watch. Now we were in a final set, a do-or-die situation where everything was on the line. This was the moment that would define Osaka's return. All the preparation, all the training, all the mental work she had done during her time away, it all came down to this decisive set. The pressure in the stadium was palpable. Could Osaka hold her nerve and close out the match? Or would Ruzic complete an upset that would send shockwaves through the tournament? With everything on the line, Naomi Osaka dug deep and found the champion within. She backed herself with all her might, refusing to let the moment become too big. Her experience in high-pressure situations, her mental fortitude that she had worked so hard to develop, and her sheer determination all came together in that final set. Point by point, game by game, she battled her way to victory. It wasn't always pretty, and there were moments of doubt, but Osaka persevered. She ended up winning the first round in 3 sets, escaping what could have been a disastrous defeat, and instead creating a narrative of resilience and determination. This was a hell of a performance, especially following that iconic entrance. Osaka had put herself under immense pressure with her bold fashion statement, and then she delivered when it mattered most. The combination of the visual spectacle and the on-court performance created a complete package that reminded everyone why Naomi Osaka is such a special talent. In the days following her match, tennis analysts and fashion commentators began weighing in on the significance of her entrance. While it hasn't yet sparked major formal debate in traditional tennis circles, many analysts are already calling her dress one of the most iconic outfits of all time at a Grand Slam. When you consider the history of tennis fashion, from Serena Williams' catsuits to Andre Agassi's denim shorts, the bar for iconic is incredibly high. But Osaka's Japanese-inspired ensemble has a legitimate claim to that status because it represented so much more than just clothing. It was a statement about identity, heritage, cultural pride, and personal agency. The trolls and haters were undoubtedly waiting for her to fail. They wanted to see her stumble so they could tear her down and claim that she was all style and no substance. But Naomi Osaka didn't let the haters have the last laugh. She backed up her entrance with a victory, proving that she could deliver both the spectacle and the performance. In doing so, she succeeded in exactly what she set out to do, stamping herself in the hearts of people around the world. She created a moment that will be remembered, discussed, and celebrated for years to come. And that's exactly what legends do.